Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn how to plasma cut with Fusion 360 manufacturing. All right, in our last video, we designed this light switch wall plate here with Fusion 360 sheet metal. Well, in this video, we're going to learn how to manufacturing it with Fusion 360 CAM software here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, the next thing we want to do now is come on up here and select Create Flat Pattern, and then we're going to click on this front face here and select OK, and that'll unfold our flanges here, which is what we want. And then we're going to change our workspace here now from Design to Manufacture. Okay, and to plasma cut this, which we want to do, you want to come on up here and select Fabrication tab, okay? And then come on down here and select Create Flat Pattern, all right? And now I'm going to go ahead and click on my front view here and kind of get it sort of centered here in the middle so you guys can see. And I'm going to just come on over here to my home and I'm going to select Set Current View as Front, all right? All right, once that's done, we're going to come on up now and we're going to start a new setup. Okay, and if you look at this, this is not what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on select for the model, and we're just going to click on our model and do something like that. Okay, for our box point, I like to click this bottom left hand corner here. Okay, and then notice we want our X to be here where our Y is. Our X should be going left to right, and our Y should be pointing away from us. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to come on over here and I'm going to select Z axis and X axis. So let's see here. I'm going to select my X axis and I'm just going to click there. Okay, and that's exactly how I want it. However, I'm going to come back to box point here and then just click right there. And you need your work coordinate system set up just like this. Okay, I'm going to come on over to post process. I'm going to call it 1001. Actually, I'm going to call this one, I would save it as wall plate and your name. Okay, if you're in my class, make sure you have your name in it. Okay, and let me fix that. Okay, and everything looks good. Your stock size won't matter. Let's go ahead and select OK. All right, so hopefully you have something that looks like this. All right, if not, go back and right click Edit to fix your setup. All right, once that's done, the next thing we want to do now is start cutting a 2D profile operation, which we'll use for things like laser cutting, or in this case, plasma cutting. And we got to select our plasma torch. So let's select our plasma tool here. Okay, what you want to do is come to your Fusion 360 library, come down to cutting tools by inch. You're going to find the plasma cutter. You're going to right click copy and paste it into your local library here and select paste. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and edit it. Okay, we're going to call it plasma for 18 gauge steel. Okay, for cutter, for our nozzle diameter, we'll set this guy to 0.05 and our kerf width to point, and this will vary depending upon your machine. Ours is 0.05, which is essentially our fine cut nozzle here. It's the thickness of our plasma torch. All right. All right. So let's come on over here to holder now. All of these values are default settings are fine. Let's come over here to cutting data. Now for this guy, we're going to set this guy to, okay, 120 inches per minute, okay, and 120 here, that's fine. Now for cut height, we're going to set our cut height to 0.06 and our pierce height to 0.15 here. Okay, and then our cut power values are fine. 30, 30 is good, and all of these default settings are good. For post processor, default settings are fine. Let's click accept. All right, and then we're going to select here our plasma for 18 gauge thin sheet metal here. Let's go ahead and select that guy, and you'll see here our tool is now selected. All right, it's important to note that real quick that you're going to want to do different configurations for different thicknesses of metal, okay, or types of metal, steel or aluminum. All right, so you're going to want to create a new tool if you're cutting a thicker gauge piece of metal or sheet metal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. Now the next thing we want to do is make sure we select cutting mode. Okay, so cutting mode here, we're going to select through because we want to cut all the way through. All right, we have all of our default settings here that we just selected. Now let's come up to geometry. Okay, and for this we're going to select all loops and we're going to start inside. Okay, and I'm going to click that guy, and that guy. Okay, and then for our heights tab, our default settings are fine. Let's come on over here to passes now. Okay, um, we're going to check smoothing. That doesn't really matter though because most of these are linear cuts. And we're going to set this guy to sideways composition to right. Okay, and our smoothing tolerance here is fine. Basically what smoothing will do, it'll turn a lot of your linear movements. If you have a lot of arcs, it'll create simplify your G code. All right, so let's come on over here now to um, our linking tab. And what we don't want to lead in entry tab, so I'm going to uncheck that. Okay, and we don't want to lead in out or exit. So we're going to uncheck that. And our pierce clearance here, we're just going to set that to 0 and select OK. All right. So let's zoom in here and click on our front view. So this is the path of our torch. And this essentially represents the radius of our torch diameter here. Okay. So, or our kerf width, basically, if that makes sense to you. All right. So notice we're cutting on the inside here of our circles. All right. Or squares here. All right. So now we want to go ahead and do the perimeter around this guy. So let's go ahead back up now to cutting again. Let's keep our same tool. We're going to select through, same feeds, okay? Here, same feed rate. We're going to come down to geometry and we're going to select all. We can just select outer loop and just click there. And it's only going to highlight, okay, the outside of it. But notice what happens if I select inner loops. It's just going to select these inside features. So let's once again select outer loop and just click there. All right. And we want to start outside. Okay, this time, not inside. Uh, let's see here. Our heights are good. Our passes. Okay, left is fine. All of our default values are fine. We don't have a lot of curves, so mostly linear movements. So I'm not going to check smoothing here. And for linking, I'm going to uncheck lead in. I'm going to uncheck lead out, and I'm once again going to set my pierce height here to 0 and then select OK. Now I'm going to show you one more cool thing. We can select our entry position here, and I'm just going to click that corner right there, okay, and select OK. And there you go. It's going to come down here and start right here, okay. Let's select our front view, and if you look now, our torch path is on the outside, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so let's go ahead and simulate the whole thing. So now let's come over here to setup 2 and select simulate. And if we did everything right, it should come down, create our holes here for our bolts, and then the hole here for our light switch. Okay, and then it's going to come around here and do the entire perimeter of our light switch wall plate here. Okay, and that looks good. And notice it entered here at this corner. All right. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and exit our simulation. I do want to make one change though. Okay, I do want to actually have, okay, a lead in here for this guy. And let's just set it at 90 and see what happens here. All right, so now we have a lead in path here. Notice, okay, so let's keep it like that. That's what we want. All right, so this looks good. All right, when you're all done, the next thing you want to do is go ahead now and post process your G code. All right, so I'm going to come over here and click on setup 2. I'm going to right click post process. And now we got to go, I already have mine by default, but let's go look for it. Okay, so you're going to want to come on down to Fusion 360 library here, and we're going to look for Forest Scientific Plasma Cutter. So it's all alphabetical, so we want the F's here, Forest. Here we go. Not the CNC router here, which we do have as well. Okay, but we want the plasma cutter. So I'm going to select that guy and then select, and you can just copy it to your posts. Okay, next thing you want to do now is By default, it'll go ahead and put in wall plate with your name. Make sure your name is in it if you're in my class. Okay, and now we got to go to the output folder. So we got to go locate a USB thumb drive or whatever you're using. So go ahead and click on your USB device, click select folder, and then just click post. And if you did everything right, you should get a successfully posted message down here in the bottom right corner. All right, that'll do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.